So this review has been kind of coming down the pipeline for some time. This is the Q Honey Badger SD model. SD model meaning a lot of goodies are packed into this. This is a 7.5 inch 1 in 5 twist. Bullet comes out pretty fast with a 1 in 5 twist, usually like a 5.56 or anything that's usually like 7.5 inches. Usually a 1 in 7 twist. Also has the Q suppressor as well. This one's a good friend of ours to the channel, and it's got the Lancer mag. I'm not a huge fan of these Lancer mags, but it does some justice on this, and you know, kind of matches up with everything. I feel the vibe. It's got the Trigicon optic on there, red dot, and then, you know, obviously the PDW style brace, which is pretty neat with this. So just the colors and a little bit of everything on this. The Q Honey Badger is really sweet. Now, like I said, it's got some upgrades on it with the Trigicon, and also have got the just flashed everyone at home, you know, don't worry about the muzzle flash, but also got the yeah, this is the Surefire. I forgot the name of the optic, but it's Surefire. Oh man, it's gonna haunt me now. But so we'll get to shooting with this little bad boy and take it out into the field. But I gotta say, this is one of the coolest rifles I've got to play with. This has got the Geisley trigger on it, which they used to come from factory with this Geisley trigger. Now they don't. They come with a different trigger. This thing is butter, straight butter. This thing is pretty neat. The recoil on this is really light too, because it has a very low mass. It's a very different type of bolt carrier. I'm sorry, not bolt carrier. It's a very different type of recoil system. It doesn't use a spring and buffer tube, kind of like how we'd see on all ARs and whatnot. And some people get mad because they don't even consider this an AR. They consider this something a little different. But yeah, it's really neat. The system on this is really light, low recoil. Don't need ears to shoot, especially with the suppressors if you're running like a 200 grain. But yeah, you go ahead and see it right there. It's got the whole, just every little piece on there to go ahead and say Honey Badger, you know, paid for. So between the Scar and between this gun, these are the guns that are kind of, I don't want to say glorified, but fuck it, sure, whatever, man. They're glorified by fucking video games. Warzone, Fortnite, whatever. Not so much this one with Fortnite. I think Fortnite is more for the Scar, which they actually make a Nerf version of it. Okay, really rad. As you can tell, I don't have ears. I don't have ears because this thing is quiet. How quiet? Well, I don't have my battle belt on, but go ahead. We'll just do a couple shots here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go 45 to 45. So if you notice, the actual steel ping is louder than the gun. This thing is so quiet. I mean, I don't need ears. Don't do that at home. Super rad. This is actually, so my buddy Dustin actually is the owner and operator of this weapon. He used to work at the armories. Shout out to the armories out there in Oviedo and Kissimmee. So went ahead, he has matched this with a Trigicon RMR. He's got the Surefire. He's got all the right parts on this. I mean, silencer co, suppressor, even the little grip here for the heat. I mean, this has all the little right pieces. Now, the cool thing is, so I think this has a little bit of, oh, it doesn't pop out like the Fostech. I was hoping it does. Fostech kind of turned me on. But this is night. It doesn't have multiple settings. It's only got one, well, technically 2 settings. This would be 1, and then if you were to hit the button here, that would be 2. So it does have 2 settings. The ejection on that was actually quite nice. I'm gonna go ahead, I just wanna make another shot here. So ejection is going about 3 or 4 o'clock. That's pretty cool for suppression, because sometimes suppression will be at around 2 o'clock. If you're a nerd, you'll get what I'm talking about. If not, fuck it, don't worry about it, man. Just buy the damn weapon.
Take my money.
If you were to kind of get into some money and get your hands on one of these, I highly recommend it. I don't think I bought enough subs today. I didn't bring enough subs today, but God damn, I gotta get me one of these. This is pretty rad. 2-stamp gun. 2 stamps being that it costs you $400 in total, I'm gonna assume. And for the stampage, 200 each?
Yeah, so SBR and the suppressor.
Gotcha. So yeah, and that's actually one of the things is if you notice, this might look like a SBA 3. It is definitely not. This is actually considered a butt stock. This is not a brace for the disabled or a brace for you know, anyone who's trying to get away and say it's a pistol. No, this is an actual SBR, and then on top of it, like you just mentioned, so you have one tack stamp, and then you have a secondary tack stamp, which would actually be for the suppressor itself. Cool thing about Q is that they make their own handrails. Their own handrails kind of, if you see, they interlock and they actually will only go on one way, so they won't have any cantering or anything like that. That's pretty neat. And then on top of that, oh yeah, there's more on the bottom. And then the suppressor fits inside of it. That's pretty cool, man. So let's go ahead. Yeah. Now, even with this wrap, I still feel a little bit of the heat. And that's all right, because I'll take the pain with the pleasure, because this thing is sick. This is why, I mean, these run around $3,000 to $4,000. This setup right here is probably close to $5,000 maybe, with the Trigicon and everything else. But whatever, 3 to 4 grand, I mean, 4 to 5 grand. What's money, bro, huh? Especially when you can do this. I missed a couple times. This still has a muzzle rise. Don't let it fool you. After playing around with this heat guard, it did get a little warm. I would like something a little bit thicker, but just for my own personal use. But the cuts on this, super rad. The ambidextrous charge handle, super rad. I like that. It's smaller than normal. I'm sure I have one around here, but it's much smaller than an actual normal ambidextrous handle. I'm sure I've got one laying around here somewhere. Yeah, right there that I can compare. So you see the size is, it's got a different size to it. That's kind of cool. A lot of things on this is kind of proprietary, but it's really nice. This is a pretty rad setup. I mean, you kind of get your money's worth out of it. The Trigicon is just shake weight, which I think is really neat and a very nice touch, this whole setup. Part of that, you're gonna go ahead, it's gonna be a pretty penny. You'll have to go ahead and pay for 2, that's 1 and 2 forms. So you go ahead and get your SBR and get your suppressor tax stamp going there. So you will need tax stamps for this. But yeah, definitely worth a buy, worth a look at. If you've got the cash, definitely worth it. Shot great, don't even need ears. It just, you know, being poor is just a mindset. Come on, guys. But hey, just make sure, since, you know, we're wrapping up on this, to go ahead and comment below, hit the subscribe button, also hit the notification buttons, because, you know, YouTube hates guns, and that's okay with me, I guess. But it's not okay to the people who are trying to watch and get cool content. So I'll try to get a little bit more of the higher end stuff in, like this and the Scar, you know, and try to do stuff that's in video games, because, man, I love when something, you know, is adapted out of the real world into a game, gains the popularity, and then goes ahead and then kind of comes full circle, and, you know, then I can review it. So until next time.